Y'all, listen. If there is one thing I've learned, adversity does not build character. Adversity reveals character. I'm Barbie Bassett, and I invite you to join me and my friends, Therese, Apel, and Tracy Lee, as we peel back those adversity layers to see what else is revealed. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Y'all Listen Here. So glad to have you. I've got my friend Therese Apel with Dark Horse Press here. Hey, Therese.
Hi, everybody. Hi,
Yeah.
Barbie.
Hey, we are
Hi.
missing Tracy Lee. She is, again, a boss woman. She's working, so she is missing us today. We are missing her today, too. But
She's had a lot.
she's had a lot of work going on. But we have a sweet, dear friend, a new friend to me, an old friend to Therese, Belle Russell here. Hey, Belle.
Hey.
I love saying that name. Belle was here on our last week's episode. We hope you've had a chance to see it. If not, go back and watch it or listen to it because we're about to do part 2 with Belle and her story. And if you see part 1, part 2 will begin to make a little bit more sense. And boy, oh boy, was part 1 convicting
Oh, yeah.
to me in particular as someone who grew up in the church to hear you say that you didn't really know who Jesus really was. That just bumfuzzles me. So let's pick up where we left off last week. So you and your family get an invitation to go to Southside Baptist Church
Mhm.
to their fall festival. And you and your family go. Everything's fine. And then several months later, you find you and your family, you're evicted. You're homeless now. Now you have nowhere to live. And of all places y'all decide to try to return to, you return to the church, to the
Mhm.
parking lot in your vehicle, because now you've got you, your husband, 6 kids,
Yes.
and a 7th
On the way.
on the way. Do you remember how long y'all stayed, lived in the church parking lot? Was it a day or 2 or
Um,
more?
I think it was maybe 2 days.
Okay.
Cause it was Thursday night and then Friday, and Brother Jeff came to church that Saturday because he's the pastor, but he also is the janitor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he does
wow.
everything.
Yes. So when I tell you everybody is hands on, nobody is above anything at
Yeah.
everybody scrubs toilets at Southside.
Yeah.
So he
including the
sees,
pastor.
so he notices that y'all are living in your car. Your kids have even got their bicycles with
Yes.
them.
And he gets in touch with the then associate pastor, Reggie, who gets us in touch with the Wingard home.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we exhausted our time there. So we ended up staying in this hotel. Y'all, there's ministry everywhere you go. So we began to have Bible studies in the atrium of this hotel. So
Okay.
it's 7 people living in one hotel room. And we would have these Bible studies in the hotel where we could to minister to the people that are living also in the hotel with us. And this goes on for about 3 months, maybe,
Okay, so y'all
before we
spent some
moved.
time at the Wingard home.
Hmm.
Your husband, had he gotten a new job? Because he lost
Yes.
his job
Yes.
during all this homeless time. So he got a new job.
Hmm.
You spent some time at the Wingard home. Who was paying for y'all to stay in the hotel? Were
Well,
y'all paying for that?
us and the church were helping.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. So they put you up, and y'all are paying for this as well
Hmm.
at a local hotel that
Hmm.
you're staying in for several months. You meet several other people who are kind of going through the same
Yes.
scenario that you are.
And her name's Christina. At the time, she was our children's director. So she would come and she would help. And she was like, you know what, Belle, we should start having these Bible studies. And at first it was just me and her, like 2 crazy people, sitting in the atrium having these Bible studies. And slowly but surely, women would they wouldn't come up to us.
Yeah.
They would just sit in the tables around
And
us.
listen.
Yes. And
Wow.
so she had the idea that we should start having pizza
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
pizza,
Pizza
Where
yeah.
there are-
bridges all gaps.
Yes.
yes, and where there are two or more gathered,
Right.
look at how the Holy Spirit made all of that multiply.
Yes. And we began to have these pizzas, and at first it was just a bunch of kids coming.
Right.
And but the moms, y'all, they would stay like right on the outside
Mhm.
of the Bible study. So we started talking louder
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that we could be heard. But uh this other guy, he started coming, and because I mean it was just me and her. We couldn't
Right.
afford to keep the pizza thing going. So
Yeah.
God did send somebody else
Sure.
that could draw a bigger that could draw the people in.
Mhm.
So we just kind of partnered with him, and we ended up meeting a lot of people and watching a lot of people learn about Christ.
Yeah.
Um,
Because at this point, you're kind of becoming a baby Christian, a new Christian.
yes.
You're eager, you're hungry, you're wanting to
Yes.
find out more about this Jesus that here you have lived in Mississippi all your life and you had
With
no
so many
clue.
churches, there's literally
Oh my
1,000 churches on every block.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Right.
I grew up in Mississippi and didn't know who Jesus was. And when I tell people that, they're like, how do you not know who Jesus was?
Because nobody was
Nobody-
being Jesus to you,
Yes.
Belle.
Right.
That, oh my goodness, yes.
That's
So I think that's the thing. He's not just words on a piece of paper, because you can read those words day in, day out, and until you see that, I think you have to see it to understand who Jesus was. And again, that's why I like Southside. They are so intentional with that, who Jesus is. It's that you don't see me, you see him. And that's one of my prayers that I have to continue to pray, because when people see me, I want them to see him. And I was sharing my testimony with a coworker at work the other day, and she looks at me and she's like, "Bella, I can't believe that. That's not who I know." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "That doesn't make sense. What you're saying is hard to believe." And I look at her and it just comes out. That's the power of Christ.
Yeah.
You can't believe what I'm saying to you because of the person that you know today. That I call it BC Bell, before Christ.
Yeah, I mean, true transformation. True
And
transformation. And so tell me how y'all came out of homelessness.
oh my goodness. So we had talked to this lady, and it was like a HUD certificate or something like that. It didn't last long. We get it back. It was a big headache. I mean, not if it works, it works. But for
Yeah.
us, it was not something we wanted to
Mhm.
see. But we ended up getting like a little HUD certificate or voucher, and we ended up getting a home. And once we came out of it, I mean, I felt like we went through all of that so that God can show us the forgotten people, the us of the world, the and to remove some stereotypes that I had about certain groups of people. I had horrible perspectives of homeless people, and I wasn't homeless because we were drug addicts or alcoholics or because of we were crazy. It was circumstances beyond us. And if that was the case for me, how many other people out there are homeless or going through this because of circumstances beyond them? And, not just because of being homeless, how many people are forgotten because of circumstances beyond them? How many people went through the same emotional roller coaster that I did? How many people are having these depressing days? How many people out there don't know Jesus? Jesus is all around people, but we don't know him. Well, I ain't gonna say Jesus. Churches are everywhere,
Yes.
but we don't know Jesus.
yes.
Well, and so last week we talked about, you said something about, well, let me go ahead to what I'm saying. When I talked to Brother Jeff about the homeless ministry, the part that's my story of how I got to Southside, and I remember one of the things that he said on the phone that broke me down was he said, I talked to a homeless man the other day, And he said, "You're the first person that's looked me in the eyes in I don't know how long." And he said,
Yikes.
"We walk by him every day." And he said, "That's the thing I want people to know is that these are actual humans out
Mm-hmm.
here. And, we don't look them in the eyes and we think it's because we have this disdain for them. But what it is we see ourselves,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, they need Jesus as much or more than we do.
Yeah.
And in that was where I went from like, I'm trying to get a story on gang ministry here, Brother Parker,
Yeah.
to, oh my gosh, no, talk to me more about this.
Yes.
You know?
So y'all, you find yourselves in a more stable position.
Mm-hmm.
You move out of the hotel, and now you're like, wait, we've been where these people have been, and you found yourself homeless
I'm sorry. My
from
sinus is
it
running.
from the standpoint of something that y'all had done wrong. This you'd been paying your bills,
Yeah.
you'd been paying your rent, and so you're out of homelessness, and you think this is an opportunity for you to minister to other people.
So I get in with I start to join the ministry, Celebrate Recovery,
Yes.
and to do Celebrate Recovery with Celia and Alan.
Yeah.
So to do the ministry with them, you have to go through the program like you are. I'm sorry, my sinuses are
No, that's
draining
fine.
really bad.
Yeah, we had a strong Celebrate Recovery
Yeah,
thing at our church, and I guess we're
Was it
kind
like
of
a
in between those.
training?
Well,
yeah,
and the group there was very strong for a while, and I think
yeah.
we have that now.
So you have to go through it the same way you would if you were actually going through the program.
Yeah.
And so I'm going through this program and I'm finding out a lot about myself. And there's this thing of inventory.
Mm-hmm.
In the inventory, you have to say, this is my part.
Right.
This is the other person's part. This is how it affected me. In that inventory, I learned that I needed to forgive myself. I need to learn to forgive God. And when I first had that thought, I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? I feel like I can say those things, but a lot of us and a lot of our situations have led us to this anger with God. And I
Anger
know,
from God from the standpoint of, were you mad that why has my life turned out the way it has?
yes.
And you, because you had mentioned on our Patreon channel that you grew up without a father. So
Mhm.
is that kind of where the anger is coming from?
I felt like I was angry at God because everything that I was taught about God, it was incorrect. Everything that I was taught about God told me that He had the power to change my situation,
Mhm.
but He didn't.
Gotcha.
And seeing all these Christians living the way that they were living and carrying on the way they were carrying on, I was confused because God, how could you bless it such
Mhm.
wickedness? But then, even as a child, I'm crying out to you, and it's like you put me on mute and you're just ignoring me. And that created this anger towards God in me, but my anger came from misunderstanding. It didn't come from a place of education, it didn't come from a place of correct understanding. Like the God that I know was just the God that, from my understanding, growing up and going to church and being around these Christian people, God was just this angry, vengeful being who sits up in the sky waiting on us to mess up so He can punish us. And I didn't know Him as this loving person who loved me so much that He would go. Oh my God, when I learned what happened on the cross, when I learned what Jesus went through, when I learned about His 3 days in hell, that broke every part of me because God, what made me that special?
Yeah.
That you would do this? Why would you do this? And I was like, oh my God, all the ways that I have, all the anger that I had towards you, all of the things that I blamed you for, and yet here you are dying on the cross.
Right.
Here you are thinking of me. And I wanted to I wanted to end more than anything when we got back on our feet. I wanted to end the misinformation about who he was. I wanted people to know the Jesus that I knew. Miss Sheila says something all the time. She's Brother Jeff's wife. Let me tell you about my Jesus.
Yes.
And I say that so much now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my Jesus. Let me tell you about the man who saved my life. Because at the end of the day, that's what he did. He saved my life. And he's everywhere if we're looking for him. We just have to be willing to accept that him in whatever form he comes in. I think we get so used to the three crosses with the illuminated light and just this beautiful glowing image. This I call him the fake Jesus.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
Jesus that doesn't get down in the mud with you and pull you up right there. That Jesus that leaves the 99 and chases you down. That kind of Jesus. I wanted people to see that Jesus, not this whitewashed Jesus that I had known. And that's what my journey taught me. It taught me that Jesus is real. And he cares. He cares about every detail of your life. There is not a detail so small that he does. Y'all, it's to the point now, if I lose my keys, I sit on the side of the bed. Okay, God, you already know.
Yeah. Tell me where they are.
Right.
The keys are lost. Just point me in the right direction because we never know where the keys or the bank card is. We need both of those right now.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that you found yourself in this position, and which I'm sure was very difficult, and how you explain to kids that, hey, we don't have a place. You don't have a room. You don't have a bathroom. We're just going to go live in the home for a while, or in a hotel for a while, or in the car for a while. But you took the absolute worst, lowest point in your life, and now you have turned that into a ministry in helping other homeless people to be seen and heard and loved on. Do you realize how big that is?
I mean, it was given to me.
Yeah.
The whole time we're in this hotel, the church is not distant. They haven't distanced themselves from us. They're coming to this hotel eating dinner with us like we're in a 5-star
Yeah.
building.
So it's not like they just paid for you. Hey, you just stay here.
They're
and
there with us.
You don't bother us. We won't bother you.
No, they're in it with us. They're talking to us. Like, their involvement in our lives is what brought so many people at the hotel to Christ. They're like, what church does this? Exactly, what church does this? And they were just being themselves. They weren't coming with, oh, love the Lord and,
Call us when you're better.
yeah.
Yeah.
They were just coming and being themselves. And they're like, those are y'all church members came to this hotel? And I was like, matter of fact, it's the hotel where Jax is sitting now. It was, what was the name? Metro Inn.
The Metro Inn.
We were staying at
absolutely.
Metro Inn. It was a rough place. And these people are coming and they're visiting with us. They're checking on us. And the more they came, the more people around us would be like, what do they get from coming here?
Mm-hmm.
What do they get? Do y'all do interviews for them? Do they get money for y'all? I was like, no, what do you mean do they get money? No, they don't get money from us. I don't know what they get. They're crazy people.
Right.
Mhm.
I
They
don't
get
know.
the love of the Lord.
Yes. But
It's amazing to me. I think that this whole conversation is a great example for churches
Yeah.
today, that obviously Southside Baptist Church is doing it right.
Well, and a couple of weeks ago, when Dr. Beth was here,
Yes.
and we were talking about, I've been to so many churches, and with my dad having been a pastor, yes, that makes it very hard to find a good church.
mhm.
In the time that my dad was a pastor, he wanted to, and we did have a community Thanksgiving service where we invited the black churches and the white churches, and that was the beginning of the end of our time at that church. Our congregation, there were several people that had a major problem with walking
Mhm.
into our congregation, and there were black people there. And so to me, I needed a church that had courage. I needed a church that loved. I needed a church that, to me, my dad stood for so much, you know.
Yeah.
And I think in my church journey, I saw so many different things, but one thing that I know years ago, at the time, Mayor Tony Yarber stood up at a meeting, a city board meeting, and he said, "Suburban churches, you're sending people overseas. Where is the mission field? It's in your backyard."
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about Jackson, and I just remember I was so moved by that, and I thought, well, if I had a church, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I found a church in that backyard that is doing these missions. And Bell is such a big part of that. And it's not just the homeless ministry. You guys, y'all go out to Jane Avenue and you feed the homeless there, but you also go to the apartment complexes and you're reaching out to Jackson residents as well.
Yeah. I mean, we don't get to as much as I would like. I mean, if I could, it'd be my full time.
Yeah, it's not your job. It's what you do
But
on the side. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of took that from Mandel and Davion. They're the bold, in your face. Let me tell you about Jesus in the Walmart. In
That's your husband and one of your sons.
yes, my
right?
oldest
Okay.
son.
Yeah.
They will strike up a Jesus conversation. If Walmart line ain't moving fast enough, okay, it's church time right now. That's the two of them. And I want to say I'm that bold, but I'm not. I'm better with knock on the door. Hey, how you doing? Okay, yeah. Can I tell you something?
Mhm.
But no, I want to be that bold one day to be able to stand in the grocery line and be like, okay, we stalled out. We're going to be here for a good 30 minutes. Let me tell you what Jesus has done in my
Yeah.
life.
Well, and the thing is, there are different ways to do outreach too. I mean, we each have a different personality in Christ. I know for me, it's very hard to just walk up like, "Hey, do you know Jesus?" But I can be like, "Do you want a plate of hot food?"
Yeah.
And when they're like,
Oh,
"What are
yeah.
you doing here?" That's different, you know. Or Miss Sheila, Brother Jeff's wife, tells us the story all the time about when she was in college and she was already a widow. Her husband was murdered. She was married very young, and she had a roommate. And one day she was just like, "I want what you have."
Mhm.
And that's where she gets the phrase, you know, her roommate said, "Well, let me tell you about my Jesus."
Yeah.
And I feel like that there's a place for each of our delivery styles.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it's either hopefully we're all living it, but you're living it, you're speaking it, you're loving it, you're cooking it. You know, there are different ways that we can all bring Jesus to other people.
And I mean, I do a lot of background to like Davion and Mandel because they're the speakers. But I think it all just starts with a servant heart. Every day I want to find a way to serve God. It's not always, where it's comfortable in here. Some of the times it's, you see a homeless guy sitting on the side of the store and you go in there and you get a soda and a couple of cakes or whatever and you come pick him up. You get down there with him and you remind him, listen, yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, this is life. But guess what? Jesus is in every detail of this life. There's not a part of life. And, sometimes I used to ask myself, God, why is it like this? God, why is it like this? I don't ever want it to be comfortable. I don't ever want to get to a point where I feel like I'm comfortable in my walk with Christ because I feel like it's in that moment that I began to lose that passion. I began to lose that wonder because once we get comfortable, we stop looking, we stop digging, we stop searching for him, we stop seeking him.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get to that point.
Well, and I want to go back to the part that we talked about last week where you guys have lost everything. You know, you've lost your home. Mandel loses his job. His mom dies. You know, there are all these things that happen right in a row, and it's like boom, boom, boom. And I think most of us, all of us, would go to a place of like, God, why do you hate me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is going on? And I know there have been times in my life when I'm like, could you make one thing easy? Just one thing, make just one thing not hurt. And I was actually talking to my sister about this today and yesterday. So when you're a farmer and you grow crops, and Barbie, you know, because your dad's a farmer, at some point after a certain point of years, it's used up all the nutrients, and you have to burn that field in many cases. And sometimes God will burn the field so that he can use us for something entirely new, to grow something new and something different. And we have to be open to that. So these days when I start to experience a loss, I mean, you know, my sister and I talk a lot about losing both of our parents and all the things that go with that. And it's like, all right, but this is a new start. This
Yeah.
is where God has said, the old has passed, behold, the new has come.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I feel like what was going on with you guys at that moment was he was burning the field
Yeah.
and the new has come. And it's like every day for you guys. To me, when I watch you and your family and your kids, I can't say enough about your family and your kids and you. It's like just watching God take this thing that y'all could have been just a normal family. You could still be doing exactly what you were doing 15 years ago. But instead, you are this powerful force. And it's not just you, it's your entire family.
So true. There is a gospel song came out, oh gosh, it's probably in 20, 25, maybe 30 years ago. And I can't even remember who sang it, but the words are, we fall down,
Mhm.
but we get up.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a line in the song where it says, for a saint is just a sinner who fell down
Mhm.
and got up.
And
And you are a great example of that.
I feel like I tell people, like you said, we lost everything. We lost everything so that we can find everything.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
And-
girl.
That just made me cry.
mm,
I just need a
and-
minute.
If I had to do it all over again, listen, I'd be right back on that church parking lot. Because there's not a day that goes by that I don't want to stop seeking Jesus. There's not a day that goes by that I don't want to stop trying to be the best part of me in him that I can be.
Well, and I feel like there's a story
Wow.
in that of how much do you love Jesus? Do you love him so much that you're willing to just live in the church parking lot if that's what you can do? You know, even the dogs can eat the crumbs under the table. Can I just live in your parking lot, God?
Yes.
You know,
Whoa.
And like I can't say enough good things about my church, but
And that's a testament
the
then and there.
we as ladies, we always feel like we're in competition with each other. I have never felt that at Southside. That's the one thing that shocked me the most, the women's ministry. And it's not, well, I wouldn't do it like that, or that's how you gonna parent. You know, it's a wealth of information there, and just the ongoing love and support and answering phone calls at 3 a.m.
As
Yeah.
it should be.
And I want as many people to come into Southside as I can get. If I could drag the nation into
right. Well, and I feel like that's kind of where I have always been so hesitant, because I've had people be like, you should come to my church. And then you realize, like, I'm just a number on the roll. Thank you anyway. At Southside, I don't think we care if there are 5 people in the pews or 500 people in the pews. But when we go to people about, like, I wish you would come, it's because, Barbie, I love you. And I feel so loved here. And I want you to be loved like
Yes.
I'm loved. And that love is absolutely the love of Christ coming through his people. And whether you go to Southside or whether you find another one just like it, the idea that we are living a church experience that is exactly, I mean, we have flaws too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to try and pretend like we are heaven on earth, but what is happening at Southside is so very much what I believe Jesus had in mind when he picked his disciples and when he said, you know, I want this group of people around me. I want them to reach out to the people around them. I want this to become a movement. I feel like a church like Southside, and I don't want this to feel like a big Southside commercial, but I feel like a church that is doing these things intentionally, where the women come into Sunday school, and I've never felt anything other. My first week,
and there's the
they-
gossip that you don't get back. So
Yeah.
if you share something, you won't hear it from another. Oh, it's not like, what do they call it? Gossip,
the gossip telephone
disguised
thing,
as
yeah.
the gossip disguised as prayer request.
right.
So, and that's good, because to have that safety in women,
Yeah.
I didn't
That's
think
huge.
that was a real thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, my first week there, I remember they said, well, the women's Sunday school classes, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you don't have like a mixed class? And they're like, no. I was like, can I maybe sit on in on the men's class? They're like, absolutely not. I was like, because at the time we were actually doing, that was when we were
Mhm.
doing the pornography study.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so it was very much like, absolutely no, it's women and men because we're doing it. We're not scared of the tough stuff. So
Right.
I get there the first week. We're doing a study on what pornography does to your brain and how God is very, whatever. Anyway, so I was like, all right, I guess I'll go sit with all these women. And it was like I went and sat with all these women. And I was like, I maybe I like this group. But at the time I was very opposed to any group that was all women because women are
Yes.
so mean in
So
my head.
mean.
But now it's like I missed a lot of church right after Dad died, and it was just because I just couldn't do it. And honestly, I couldn't handle the love at that point. I knew if I went back, everybody was going to want to know how I was doing. They were going to
Oh,
hug me.
yeah.
They were going to, we're so glad you're back, all that. And I was still so hurt that I couldn't do it yet. But now that I'm back, it's like, man, I don't know how I survived those 5 months without my sisters.
Well, I think this conversation today and last week has really been multifaceted.
I feel like we could do this for weeks.
We could. First of all, everything that you shared with us, just the revelations that came through, being a Christian, but yet other people don't know who the real Jesus is because we're not focused as Christians being
Mhm.
Jesus to other people. The story of your child watching your own faith and how your kids watch their parents. And then, of course, the talk of your church, what every church should be. I hope that those watching and listening to this podcast have been encouraged
Mhm.
to, hey, what could we as a church do better? How could we find the bells in this community and in this world who need to have Jesus shown to her and her family? I think that this conversation has really just encompassed a lot.
Can I throw something on the end of this also? And so I want to say to the big churches, I recognize that a lot of you feel like South Jackson is out of your comfort zone. There's a lot of people who might say, yeah, this sounds like a great church, but I
Mhm.
don't know if I feel comfortable going to South Jackson for church. You can help us.
Mhm.
Our church does not make a lot of money. We
At
don't
all.
have a lot of money coming in. And what little we have, we're spending on outreach.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a roof that we desperately need fixed and different all kinds of things. My thing to you is that your ministry, if you are interested in what you've heard here, if it's not Southside, seek out a church that is serving an area like this, that's reaching out to these invisible people
Yeah.
that maybe you just don't know how to do it. You don't feel comfortable. You don't feel, brave enough maybe. And we all have our different walks in life. There's no judgment here, but you can help with that kind of, this is not even a sales pitch. This is
Yeah.
just, if you like what you've heard, but you don't feel like you know how to take that step. There's a lot you can do still.
Yeah. Churches helping other churches.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And that's what we do rely on. Somebody hearing our story, somebody hearing about our ministry. If y'all want to get together, we got Willie going out every week and he's giving out sack lunches.
Yeah.
You want to make a couple of sack lunches, make them. He'll come pick them up.
Yeah.
You don't even have to come to South.
Oh, I
Right.
love
We'll
it.
send Willie to you.
Right.
I
But
love it.
and he's a person, that it's just so many rich stories and rich ways and unique ways. God has brought this group of people, like she said, we have homeless, we got doctors, we got a wide variety of people in our congregation. But when you walk in there, it's like
You wouldn't be able to tell
everybody's
who's who.
everybody's the same.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's more dressed up or more sitting at a higher. Everybody's chair is the exact level.
Well, and what a blessing just hearing your story has been for me and those watching and listening to our podcast. And I know for some people it may have been an embarrassing story if they were to tell it about themselves, but you've been so transparent, so open, but more importantly, you have given God the glory for the great things that he has done. So thank you for being with us, Belle. Thank you, Therese, for bringing Belle along. Now
I
I
love
see
it when
why
I
she's
can
your friend.
Yeah, I love it when I can make my friends friends.
Absolutely. Well, we are going to continue this conversation over on our Patreon channel. We'll be sure that we put the link here so that way you can see, because we're going to have a little bit more of a conversation of some things that we can't really talk about here with Belle on that. But until then, we will see you again on Y'all Listen Here.